Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be across this beautiful blue-green globe of ours. Welcome to Real News Live. This is a toxically masculine Tuesday on a Monday, even though Monday Night Football is going to be kicking off in about 15 minutes. Why are we doing that? Well, Mike had something to do on Tuesday that now he's probably not going to do, and we're not going to talk about it. But let's go ahead and just get the show done now. Since we announced that everybody's here, everybody's ready to go, the team is set. And besides, even after an hour or so, we're only going to miss the first quarter and a half. So we'll be able to go watch football and be men. Not that Steve Doran gives a shit about football.
I could care less.
Yeah, couldn't care less.
In fact, if I was with Mike right now, I'd shoot him in the face.
Yeah, he would. Steve's been promising all day to shoot me in the face. All right, I'm your host, Mike Bara, in Las Vegas, Nevada. I am drinking just purely water today, trying to rehydrate. But I do have my Godzilla ice cube. Yes, my Godzilla ice cubes. Those are epically cool Godzilla ice cubes. I'm joined tonight, as I always am, by the usual team. We're going to start with the guy in the lower left-hand corner, the guy who's kicking back, showing us his manhood there. Steve Doran, the trail boss in nowhere, Fuckville, Arkansas. Steve.
Well, I'm not in Arkansas, by the way, and is my manhood showing? Should I cover something up or what?
No. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Wherever you are, how are you doing, and what are you drinking tonight?
I'm doing really well, and I'm drinking H-E-B fresh squeezed orange juice.
Okay, cool, good stuff. The man immediately below me, but above me in all other ways. TV, the handsomest member of the crew, TV's Blake Wally, the owner of the Lickety Split, the most popular topless bar in Nashville, Tennessee. TV's Blake Wally. Blake, how are you doing tonight? What's up, and how about those Vikings?
Doing well. Great to be here in Nashville. It's cooling off. And yeah, the Vikings had a great win the other day, and now they get to go overseas for back-to-back games in Dublin and London. So that should be fun, except I got to get up at 8:30 in the morning, so I'm not pleased about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, try being in Vegas to watch those games. You got to be up at 6:30 and turn the TV on, but that's okay, because then you get football from 6:30 in the morning till 8:30 at night, and you're a happy man. Also joined tonight by the usual member of the team, the scientist of the group. Coldplay wrote a song about him. The incredible Dr. Brooks Agnew. Brooks, how are you? What are you drinking?
Well, I'm drinking coffee. End of the day, I've been welding all day long, so my face is a little red from UV exposure.
Yeah.
But we're getting close now. We passed our final electrical. That's the major hump. Now we're just into the last bit of our structural. So we're replacing our temporary struts for the breezeway with steel struts for the breezeway. That's what I've been welding all day. And we'll be done with those tomorrow. So
nice.
So have you got your occupancy permit yet?
As soon as we do the final walkthrough, which those posts have to be in, and some handrail on the upstairs deck, which only take a few minutes to do, and then we're ready for the final walkthrough.
Nice.
To get permission.
To keep you out of your
permission to live in my own house.
Get your permission from a government just to live in your own house. Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. Let's see who's here just before we get started. Virginia Barr is here. I've been hearing lots of good news. If you listen to the TNT Tony call, that was good news. We'll see if it comes to fruition. Rick Norman is here. It's been a while. I've been busy with all kinds of stuff. Every little thing's going to be all right. Cubert's mom is here. Who let the boys out? Who us? That they did. Is Charlie Kirk alive? No. Good evening, everyone. We're gonna talk about Charlie tonight. That's pretty much it. Deb from Sacramento with the wrench is here. Hi, Deb. Welcome to Toxically Masculine Tuesday on a special Monday night. Yes, 8:05, 8 p.m. starting soon. We're here. Susan Gratz. Just talked to Susan. Wonderful person. We love you, Susan, or at least I do. thank you for everything that you're helping me with. My schedule is all over the place, and it's only going to get worse. I'm just going to tell you guys, it's just going to be bad. We will probably be here next Tuesday because I will be in town, but then after that, I'm going to be leaving in October for like 2 weeks, and so probably won't have some shows for a couple weeks. Yeah, we'll talk about the rounds, whether it was a 30-06. I actually talked to my friend, the mechanic, who was actually on the scene and inspected the crime scene the day of the shooting within hours. And I've got some information, which I would like to hear Steve's take versus his take and see what we have to talk about with that. David Murdos is here. Better start. Yeah, by all means, tell Rogan to put me on there. Sub Muffins are back. Favorite masculine men. Godzilla. It is a toxically masculine Monday, Susan. Thank you. And Sacramento says happy belated birthday. Now I happen to know, like that Deb has some vintage art nudes that she could send you. So I think she ought to do that for your birthday. Absolutely. Yeah, Vi Queens made my day. Okay, see who else is there. You are welcome. I love you too. And Laura with the $20 super chat. Laura, thank you. Follow Laura's lead. Super chat, Rumble Rant on either side of the house to keep this show going. We appreciate it. Yeah, you know who had bad days yesterday? Okay, the Cincinnati Bengals had a bad day yesterday. The New Orleans Saints had a bad day. But the guy who had the worst day yesterday is Satan. Fuck you, Satan. Fuck you. Fuck everything you are. Fuck all the people that support you. Because regardless of your attempts to destroy everything that's good in this world, you lost yesterday. And you lost, I don't know if you folks saw it, but the memorial for Charlie Kirk was held at the Toaster in Arizona, in Phoenix. It was attended by over 100,000 people. And I think we'll start there. We'll get into the mechanics of what happened, and we'll get into the discussion of conspiracy theories and stuff a little bit later. But I really want to start out by getting into, let's actually switch over. I want to talk about what Erica Kirk, Charlie's wife, said yesterday. And let me get it up on the screen in video form. Hang on, folks. I thought I had it queued up, but I actually don't. So, okay, let me show this tab instead. Okay, here we go. This was Erica Kirk yesterday, the widow of Charlie Kirk, at the memorial for her husband.
Father, forgive them, for they not know what they do. That man, that young man, I forgive him.
There were other poignant moments from yesterday, but that was the strongest one. All I have to say about it is I'm glad you forgave him, because I can't, nor can I forgive the people who put him up to it, all the way back to Satan. Satan, you lost yesterday. You lost worse than the Bengals. You lost worse than the Saints. Satan, you got your ass kicked, because hundreds of thousands of people came together in not just a spirit of respect for a good man who was trying to do good things, but in Christ's name. And the answer, I'm not a very good Christian at all. I'd like to be, but I'm not, and I probably never will be. But nevertheless, those codes of how to behave are the way I think we should all aspire to live, regardless of who we really are. And that's what I try to do. And I can't forgive these people. I want to destroy them. But I think the pure power of what happened yesterday is transformative and will have a lasting effect on America and maybe even the world. And that's all I got to say about it. Blake, you're the touchy-feely guy here along with me.
Not really.
You and me well, we're more touchy-feely, neither one of these two masculine guys.
Fair
What did you
enough.
think about what you saw of yesterday, and what do you think of that? Because I feel like that's God's job. Jesus's job is to forgive. Mine is not, because it's like what Patton said, may God have mercy on my enemies because I won't, is how I'm feeling right now. What do you think?
Yeah, it was a huge showing, and it was great to see everybody come together for a special occasion like that. And it's changed all the momentum of everything. So we can't go back to where we were, and now this is going to have a huge effect going forward. The leftists have never been in this bad of a shape as far as their approval ratings and their ideology, and this is only going to amplify that up. And it's also showing the conservatives that had come together for this greater cause versus like the leftists that showed up for George Floyd. You see the contrast here. So people are getting away from the left, and people are getting together. I wasn't a huge fan of Charlie. I had everything against him, but like this was just uncalled for in every way, and I stand with that. And I'm not a religious person, but I stand with the Christians and all of that. We have to gather with common sense and just good principles and being American. And this is a reality check. And it's a very pivotal moment for this year and going forward for America.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I wasn't necessarily a gigantic fan of Charlie Kirk, but killing him is unacceptable, and it will not kill what he stood for. I know this just sounds like proud words, but it will not kill what he stood for. It is only amplified it 1,000-fold, in my opinion. Brooks, what do you have to say about yesterday? What do you have to say about it, and just any thoughts you have in general on what happened yesterday, more than the mechanics of what happened on Wednesday, a week ago Wednesday, which we'll get to?
Well, Charlie was a leader even when he was in high school. Football, basketball, went after the Miss Universe, or at least Miss Universe contestant. Went after the most beautiful woman he could find, and he got her. Charlie was the best of us, absolutely the best of us. He started at about 16, really started to dig his heels in and push forward when he was 18. He'd been at it for 15, almost 16 years. And I think he was marvelous. He went right into the lion's den, right into where the left had spent all their money for the last 30 years, trying to indoctrinate young minds of mush and turn them into liberals. He went right into their lion's den and debated them face to face. He may not have changed the mind of the person behind the microphone talking to him, but the hundreds of people around caught the spirit, and it began to grow. And Turning Point became something unstoppable. But there was Turning Point, there was Tipping Point, there was all kinds of organizations like Charlie. But Charlie was the best of us. And when the left decided to kill him and maybe they sent Tyler, maybe they sent somebody else, we don't really know, but to kill him, they thought they would put him down and silence his voice. And that's not what happened. What happened was he became more powerful than they could ever imagine. Did we riot? No. Did we go out and burn things? No. Did we pick fights? No. Did we go to social media and curse everybody? No. We came together 100,000 strong, and that's just the people that could get in. There were another 100,000 people outside.
Yeah.
There were 100 million streams of that event yesterday. And I was driving at the time listening to it, and I got to tell you, Don Jr. knocked it out of the park. Rubio knocked it out of the park. But Erica Kirk pulled my heart right through the front of the truck. Absolutely amazing spirit yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah, and they killed him because he was turning young people's hearts away from Satan. And I don't want to put it in biblical religious terms, Blake, because I'm not really a religious man, but I am also a religious man. And that's why he was a threat. That's why they had to get rid of him. And it's now, I think, completely blown up in their faces. And as Greg Gutfeld put us live on Fox News, it woke us the fuck up. And now we know we're in a war. And it comes back again to the quote of Yamamoto in Pearl Harbor. I fear that all we have done is awaken a sleeping giant and filled him with a terrible resolve. And that's exactly what you've done. So let me see if I can find Steve here again. There we are. And we're going to move the other guy off the stage. Don't know what happened, but there we are. Steven, how are you?
Good. I don't know what happened either. It just, you guys clicked off. I could see you. I just couldn't hear you.
Yeah. And now you're back.
Yeah.
So, all
anyway,
right. So
is it my turn?
It is your turn. And I'd like to get your impressions of, before we get into the mechanics of the shooting and things that we have questions about. Just tell us, I don't know if you watched any of it yesterday. What did you think of it? And we're going to go over some more clips from it before we're done with this segment.
Well, first of all, forgiveness does not mean that you're not going to be held accountable and there's not going to be consequences for what you've done. The only thing forgiveness does is it lets you go as an individual. So, the person who wronged you most of the time could care less. Nobody's thinking about you, your feelings, how what's going on with you. So by forgiving them, you can at least move on with your life and not be eaten up by what they did. But it doesn't mean that they will not be held accountable for their consequences, or that you cannot hold them accountable for their consequences. So obviously she has 2 young children. She needs to move on with her life at some point and have some sense of normalcy in her life.
Normalcy, yeah.
As far as her forgiving the guy they have in custody, she must be forgiving someone else because that guy didn't do it.
Yeah.
And we'll get into more mechanics later, but the guy that they have in custody absolutely was not the shooter.
And the 2 people I respect the most in terms of police, military stuff are my friend Steve Doran, the trail boss, and my friend Alan, who I call the mechanic, who worked for Presidents Reagan and Bush and did a lot of work for the government. And they both agree on that point, which we will get to in a minute on the mechanics of it. But I do want to play something else. Marco Rubio had some comments, made some comments that were pretty powerful as well. So let's bring that back to the stage and listen to Marco.
His deep belief that we were all created, every single one of us, before the beginning of time, by the hands of the God of the universe, an all-powerful God who loved us and created us for the purpose of living with him in eternity. But then sin entered the world and separated us from our Creator. And so God took on the form of a man and came down and lived among us. And he suffered like men. And he died like a man. But on the 3rd day, he rose unlike any mortal man. And to prove any doubters wrong, he ate with his disciples so they could see, and they touched his wounds. He didn't rise as a ghost or as a spirit, but as flesh. And then he rose to the heaven, but he promised he would return. And he will. And when he returns, because he took on that death, because he carried that cross, we were freed from the sin that separated us from him. And when he returns, there will be a new heaven and a new earth, and we will all be together, and we are going to have a great reunion there again with Charlie and all the people we love. Thank you, and God bless you.
Moments like this used to be commonplace in America. Billy Graham's tent revivals when I was a kid growing up. now they're a rare thing. And I know they seem awkward and out of place to some of us, but this feels like America coming back, the America I knew, the America I grew up in, the America I wish still existed. Am I wrong for thinking that, Steve?
No, not at all. I mean, the thing is that we've separated ourselves so far from God that it's going to take a miracle to push us back in that direction. I'm actually like beside myself at how biblically ignorant people are today. They go down the street, they ask them the simplest questions. Like, I was watching a video where an individual asked a person probably in his 30s, and he was joking, and he said, "I'm going to be like Moses, and I'm going to make this river part like the Red Sea." And the kid goes, "Well, who's Moses?" And he said, he led the Israelites out of Egypt, and he parted the Red Sea so they could walk across. And the kid's response was, "Bullshit." Nobody has any biblical knowledge anymore. They get their morals from these freaks that are, in elementary school, high schools, and colleges. And they don't even have the basic biblical principles. Now they've never even heard the 10 Commandments, let alone read them. Mm-hmm. And it's really put our country into a sad state of affairs. I mean, that's why all these things are allowed to go on. Things years ago where, your neighbors would readily come and help you, where people would turn in criminals for criminal activity, where people would stand up for you against criminals and help you, really doesn't happen too much anymore. There are really good people out there, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying everybody's a stooge, but when you look at the grand scheme of things, where they show videos, even like that poor girl from the Ukraine being killed, and everybody just sat there, did nothing, did nothing to help. And that's where we've gotten by taking God out of the schools. And I'm not saying religion, right? Because I'm not a religious guy. I'm a Jesus guy. But by taking God out of the schools and quote unquote dismissing him from every part of our lives, we are now paying the price for it. And we see it every day in all of these events that are occurring.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Brooks, any thoughts on this? I mean, anything you want to add on the cultural impact of this?
There's an institutional effort to remove God from schools. I grew up in the same schools that most people did. We said the pledge. We had reverence for God, and God was in our classroom, 10 Commandments up on the ceiling, up near the ceiling. But they removed all of that, and the left, the liberal left, figured out how to take down America, and that is a two-step plan. First, destroy the nuclear family, and the second is remove God out of the government and out of education. In other words, it's not freedom of religion, it's freedom from religion.
Yeah.
And then they moved in with their own religion. In fact, the left decided to make themselves God. And they did two things which really started mankind down a road of unredeemable evil. The first is abortion. Abortion is the number one cause of death in the world. 45 million babies were killed last year. 45 million. No other cause of death even comes close. And the second is they took away from God his authority to put a spirit in a body and say, you're a boy, you're a girl. They said, no. Now it's my body. I'm going to carve it up the way I want, and I'm going to choose what I'm going to be. When we decided to become God, that's when the world started down a path that's so irredeemable. There's no coming back from it. And look at the mass shootings that we've had in the last half dozen years. Every single one of them have been from transgenders. Every single one. The epitome of evil, the demon that is set inside of them will do anything.
Wow. That was deep, heavy, and brilliant again, and correct and moral, and something we all try to be. And the only thing I don't agree with you on is I do think there's coming back from it, and I think it might have started yesterday. I think that coming back from that might have started yesterday. Blake, you're the most moral man I know. You're the nicest guy I know. You're more moral than I am. If you have any thoughts or comments on any of this aspect of it, I'd like to hear them.
Well, it's a changing world. I mean, I went to Catholic school for a few years. That was, back in the 80s. It didn't really stick with me and it really with the religious institutions. But I mean, it'd be nice if we could find some sort of a moral compass back in this country. We don't have to be religious, but we have to, agree on certain things as a civilized society. And one of those things, the cornerstone of our society was free speech. That was paramount. That was everything. And so even if you didn't like what somebody said, you would want to defend their right to say it. I don't know if there's some sort of a spiritual revival. I think it's going to turn a lot of people back to Christianity with the Charlie Kirk, and that's not a bad thing. People need to find something better because we see the decay of our current civilization and our culture. I think people have to be disgusted and horrified by this. There is no future with some of this, this leftist stuff. And yeah, they're hostile towards the regular American family and classic Americana. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Thanks, Zeke. Don't sell myself short. You're not black, but you're not chopped liver either. The church needs to be ready for the nation to come back to Jesus. Yeah. The thing is, I think we should all live. We need to try to live by the 10 commandments. We do absolutely need. We need to know what they are, and we need to know the religious story. So the only thing I don't really agree with you on that one, Blake, is that I do think there needs to be a religious aspect to it. We need to accept that there is something greater than this life, and that's the essence of the immorality of abortion, which Brooks spoke to. And
this is a spiritual war, and I think there's heaven and there's hell, and then there's us on Earth being run by on a planet run by demons.
Yep. And okay, so Zeke meant Blake, not me. Okay, thank you, because I hate black. Yeah, and I agree with you, and that's why I'm so happy to rub it in Satan's face that he lost yesterday, because he does exist. It does happen. And I do think these things are. This is a war that's maybe just beginning, but at least we've now realized we're in a war and we're ready to fight back. So fight back for the soul of not just the United States, but the human race is what we're dealing with here. All right, guys. I don't want to go to this next part, but we kind of have to because we haven't discussed it. So let's go take a look. There's some questions about what happened with this shooting, how it happened, who did it. The story is a tranny guy, transgender girlfriend guy on a rooftop firing at Charlie Kirk. It's not implausible, but there are a lot of questions. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at some videos and have some discussion about them. This is graphic content. You're going to see a man get murdered, and it's a man who didn't deserve anything like that to happen to him. So let's go with the first video. All right. There are two gentlemen that you should keep your eye on in this video. Why am I not getting any audio? This guy has an object in his right hand. He turns it towards Charlie Kirk, so it's pointing. The guy in the white is video. And then he gives a signal with his hat. These are not unknown signals. That guy gives a signal. And then he's shot. So again, the hat signals. That's the angle. There's the guy in the white. There's the guy in the dark. There's the guy with the gun or whatever it was under his armpit. These seem strange. This is the general. I thought there was audio on this. Apparently, there isn't. I suppose the guy in the gray shirt could have shot him from that angle, but that would be. Notice he pulls down the object in the right hand. Is it a gun? Whatever it is, he conceals it quickly. Maybe it's his gun. Is it possible that he was shot, from the right side?
No.
From the right side. Let's get some more.
Counting or not counting gang violence? Great. Over the last 10 years. Counting or not counting gang violence?
They're talking about the entry-exit path here, which is that trajectory looks like it could be plausible, although they're saying they found the bullet in his body. Now, okay, we're going to start there with that. There's a lot to digest there on that one, guys. Steve, you're the fire, you're the ballistics expert. You're the smart guy here. This knows guns. My friend, the mechanic, who I really, really want you guys to hang out together with me sometime. And believe me, I will be the safest I've ever been in my entire life when I'm having dinner with those two guys side by side. He doesn't think the sound is right. He doesn't believe it's a 30-06 slug because it should not have been stopped inside Charlie's body if it was. He had not seen the videos of the signals and the guy with whatever it was under his armpit, which appeared to be pointed right at Mr. Kirk. I got to be honest. So, having seen that stuff, I mean, he's now of the opinion that it was a 30 caliber round, but not a 30-06 from a rifle. Probably he's suggesting possibly a suppressed M1. From closer range, he thinks within 2 or 3 rows of the front row of right near Charlie Kirk. I guess that would fit the description of the guy in the gray shirt with the thing under his arm. And I'm going to send him that video. He hasn't seen it yet. And then you got the hat signals. The hat signals, those are baseball signals. And then the other signals, clearly those are signals. They may be military, they may not. What do you think of all that shit, Steve? And what do you have to say about it?
Well, first and foremost, the guy that had, put whatever it was underneath his arm, he's not the shooter. The shot took place from a distance. Bullets do funny things. I mean, an M1 Garand shoots a 30-06 bullet. I mean, that's what it uses. Unless it's got a Navy sleeve, then it shoots a 308, which is similar to a 30-06. I mean, it would still go through and through if you hit the right spot. It was a professional hit. It was a professional shooter. It was not that kid up on the rooftop. It was they rehearsed it prior to doing it multiple times. They probably even came out there weeks before the event, went over what they were going to do, how they were going to do it in every aspect so that it would come off flawlessly. And again, they have not released the round during the autopsy. So, I mean, bullets do funny things, and even 30-06 rounds can hit and ricochet, for lack of a better term, through the body. But it appeared to me that it lodged somewhere in his neck, because as soon as you can tell that the neck wound is an entry wound because it's so small. And it, to me, again, watching the video, the way his neck snapped over, that it immediately hit his spine column somewhere or hit him at the base of the neck and caused his neck to collapse. And he was, if he was still breathing, it was muscle memory, because he was dead before he hit the ground.
Yeah, and I did see a video of a gentleman who was with him, who was a friend of his, who was with him, and said by the time we got him into the car, he was gone. He was already gone. And also, my other friend, the mechanic, agrees with you that the slug, whatever it was, probably bounced around inside and did quite a bit more damage. Stephen, I got to ask you, this isn't a very good, it's not close up enough. But what do you think of those hand signals you saw? It appears to me, as an outsider, not knowing any military procedure, it absolutely looks to me like those guys were signaling to someone to take the shot. Is that crazy to think that?
No, I not at all. Not at all. They were definitely signaling somebody. All of this was rehearsed beforehand. They probably were out in the desert in Arizona somewhere. They set up a similar scenario and went through the whole thing time and time and time again. Went out to the killing site and again rehearsed it. And so, in my mind, they were active participants in Charlie's assassination.
Yeah, and another thing too that my friend told me is that he was there within hours of the shooting. They did not rope off the crime scene. In fact, they had dismantled 90% of it by the time he got there 3 or 4 hours later. You do not do that with a crime scene. You don't do that. And
it should have been secured for 28 to 48 hours minimum.
Yeah. Brooks, any thoughts on the video we saw? It looks to me like there was a plot. And, again, Libby on the label saying the guy in the white hat is one of his best friends. He was like a second dad to him. He's come out and spoke about what people told him was being said. I believe that's the guy who did the signals with the baseball cap. I hear you. Don't tell me he wasn't signaling. Now, he may have been signaling to other security people, hey, I think there's somebody up on the hill or up on the roof. I don't know what he was signaling, but he was definitely signaling. And look, when someone of political prominence is murdered, usually there's someone on the inside who knew it was coming. So just because they were, quote, friends doesn't exonerate that guy as far as I'm concerned. Brooks.
Well, it's difficult to know where to start, but let's start with the official announcement by Spencer Cox, the governor of Utah, that Tyler operated by himself, that he didn't have anybody help him. I categorically think that's false. I think there were at least 10 to 15 people involved in preparing him, delivering him, facilitating him, and maybe even involved on site when the assassination happened. At least 10 to 15 people. I think it's disingenuous of the FBI to come out and in 33 hours declare everything is solved. It's done. It's absolutely ridiculous. And in typical FBI fashion, they have taken up evidence, they have tampered with it, they have withheld it, and they have forced the evidence to fit their narrative. It is absolutely ridiculous to conclude that Tyler took this shot with a 98 Mauser. I've owned a 98 Mauser. It's a heavy gun, weighs about 8 pounds. The barrel's 29 inches long. It's not going in a backpack, even if you take it off the stock. You can't take it off the stock with a screwdriver. You need a metric Allen wrench to take it off. And if you put it back on, you have to re-index it. You don't just take it off and put it back on. It's not that kind of rifle. If he was shooting a 30-06, that's a 180 grain bullet traveling 2,700 feet a second. I have shot tens of thousands of 30-06, that exact same round. And it does, when it gets to flesh, it tears it to pieces. It would have removed his head from his shoulders if he'd hit him in the neck directly with that round, even from 200 yards away. I've made that 200-yard shot at least 10,000 times in my life. And everything that I've hit was destroyed. And guess what? We never recovered a bullet ever. Not from a deer, not from an elk, nothing. The bullet goes right through. It has a tremendous amount of kinetic energy, especially when it hits a human. And utterly ridiculous. This whole premise is utterly ridiculous.
And again, I'm going to share this. These are diagrams of supposedly the geometry of the shot. Try to make that as big as I can. I guess that they're saying, the shooter was up here somewhere shooting at the stage. There's another shot of it. Does that seem plausible to you? Steve, does it seem plausible to you that this is correct? This is where the stage was. This is where the shooter was. Does that geometry work for either one of you guys? Here it is from the other side. Does that geometry work for you, or no?
I can't see it.
Okay.
So he's 30 feet elevated from where Charlie Kirk is sitting. And Charlie Kirk is sitting underneath a dining fly. I doubt he even had line of sight to Charlie Kirk from the chest up. Didn't even have line of sight, not from 30 feet elevation, that far away. Couldn't even see under the dining fly. This shot was taken at ground level, and it was probably taken from the left side, stage left of him, to hit him in the right side of the neck.
Well, my friend the mechanic agrees with you on that, and I don't know how Steve feels about it. What do you think about the hand signals? I mean, to me, clearly, the signals are signals to take the shot, are they not? Am I crazy for thinking that?
Second one is commence firing.
Okay, Blake, given everything you've heard, you can have. I'm going to show some other videos while you're talking. I'm going to go solo with you and then put some other stuff up. Any thoughts on what you've heard from these experts and geniuses that we have on this panel today?
No, this is great because at first, I wanted to just believe the official story. Why would they have to lie? And it was packaged so nicely. Oh, it's just another trans guy, and we can all swallow the narrative and go back to business as usual. But every little clue that comes out destroys the narrative, and it appears that they are absolutely in a full cover-up. And they can't get rid of the crime scene. That's insane. They've done that before with like Oklahoma City. Sometimes when their narrative doesn't fit the reality of the situation, they have to just bulldoze it and get out of the way so people can't further investigate and find out that it's not true. But they still can't show it with all those videos and all the pictures. They still don't have one of him with the gun. They just showed maybe him limping around. They're trying to sell the narrative that he held it in his pants, but that was ridiculous. And the backpack, everything, the towel, the text messages were faked. I mean, he's changing clothes a few times. Then he was spotted at a Dairy Queen, like north of the event, but then he went south to St. George. Like everything about it opens it up more questions.
Yep.
Yeah. And also, Steve, there are people saying 200 yards. Oh, you said he has to be an expert marksman. Other people are saying he doesn't have to be an expert marksman. Why are you right and they're wrong? Just to go to that point.
Well, I mean, as far as nobody picks up a rifle. I mean, you can say what you want, but nobody picks up a rifle, shoots it 4 or 5 times, and is able, under severe pressure of murdering somebody, is able to pull off a shot like that. You have to be calm, cool, and collected to be able to pull it off a shot like that. It's not a video game. The gun recoils. I mean, there are a lot of things that go into it that kid just doesn't have. And then, to get into more of the evidence, they put this guy's picture up. His own father, his own dad didn't recognize him for 2 days until he got the text message. And then all of a sudden he recognizes him. There's just all kinds of loopholes in the story. As far as he took the gun apart and he put it down his pants. Well, they showed a video of the guy jumping off the roof. There's no way that there was a gun in his pants. And then he crosses the road, he goes into the woods, and he takes the time to put the gun back together to lean it up against a tree.
Yeah.
And
it's ridiculous.
Nobody's going to do that. And again, you've got a young kid. He just murdered somebody. The chances of him picking that gun up from where he shot from are about 0.
Yeah.
And then the fact that he would be able to calmly disassemble it, shove it down his pants, which there's no evidence of that, but they say he did. I mean, his knees were bending. I don't know how the heck he would do that. And then calmly put it back together and lean it up against a tree in the woods. I mean, none of it.
Well, okay, not from a rational person, but if you're mentally ill, maybe do that. Brooks, what do you think?
No way.
No way. Brooks, what do you?
Have you ever seen? I mean, I've been around a lot of mentally ill people, and in fact, when they do something, they know that when they do things wrong. So even if he's stone cold mentally ill, he's going to be, hypersensitive at everything. Everybody's watching him. Everybody's chasing him, and he's not going to be able to react and just calmly and coolly, walk to his next destination and be able to flee the scene. I mean, this whole thing, you got to be a moron to think that just some kid with his granddad's rifle went out, shoots Charlie Kirk, and is able to escape the campus without anybody noticing.
Okay. So now we have our talking points. Brooks, you wanted to add something.
I used to live in Orem, Utah. I lived there for 2 years. There are no woods. Okay. It's a freaking desert. It's just an irrigated desert. And it is from the foothills of the Y Mountain, which is to the east of that, to Utah Valley Lake or Utah Lake. It's developed. It's all concrete. There are no woods. Okay. Orem is just an irrigated desert. And UVU is about 2.5 miles from, maybe 2 miles from BYU, which is where I went for 2 years. And I used to live right there on Orem Hill, right on State Street. So, in fact, my partner's son just started at UVU, and we were talking about it just the other day. So this story has so many holes in it, it just doesn't hold water. It just doesn't make any sense. And Steve's exactly right. If this guy had just offed one of the most beloved speakers in the world, he would be so nervous. You would not see him at a Dairy Queen buying ice cream 2 hours later north of the city.
And he was a local kid. So you're telling me for 2 days, billions of people watch those videos. And for 2 days, his own dad didn't recognize him. He's a local boy. And not one person recognized him until the text messages came out. I mean, give me a freaking break.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm telling you, if you were on video, you're not my kid. If you were on video, I'd be able to identify you, even if you had a baseball cap pulled down over your face.
That's true.
Well, his gay roommate is involved. His father's involved, and they're all cooperating with the cops.
Oh, he's not gay though, because his boyfriend wants to be a girl.
Whatever. But Tyler is not cooperating.
Yeah.
Tyler's not saying nothing.
Nope.
And I think that you can't.
He's
Convince
another patsy.
Potential evidence.
Yeah. Okay. I want to go over one other technical piece here. This is a video of the shooting from a distance. I want you to notice these guys here. When the shot hits Charlie Kirk, they look immediately to their right. That is the position roughly where the shooter would be.
Right.
So does that increase the likelihood or the possibility that whoever was on the roof, whether it was this kid or not, did take the shot? And, again, my friend, the mechanic, suggests a suppressor. A suppressor basically, doesn't it basically, Steve, make it so that you don't really know where the shot came from? Isn't that one of the functions of it? It's not really to make it quiet.
It makes noise. It's not like a dramatic gunshot type noise. But I mean, anybody who has used firearms, has been around firearms, would know it was a shot. But the other problem is when only one shot is fired, it's very difficult to figure out where that shot came from.
Especially with buildings around.
You've got buildings, you've got echoes, you've got all those people there making noise, talking amongst themselves, all that kind of stuff. It's very difficult to hear a shot and go, oh, it came from over there, or it was this caliber, that caliber, or whatever. But a silencer would make it less detectable to the untrained ear.
Well, a 30-06 is a very loud round, very loud. If you suppress the muzzle, you're still going to get the sonic crack because it's breaking.
But Brooks, they can make subsonic 30-06 rounds just like any
Steve,
other.
I love the fact, Steve, that you and the mechanic are in total agreement. he said it was probably a subsonic round.
Wow.
Well, I mean,
So, yeah.
it's useless to use a silencer unless you use a subsonic round.
Yeah,
Because you're going to get
And-
this on a crack.
yeah.
You're going to hear the crack.
Okay, so yeah, that leads us to
I mean, again, like when you have a professional hit, the rounds are tuned to the weapon, and everything works in sync with the weapon, the silencer, everything that's being used. So, as an example, the Israelis, used specific 22s when they were doing the hits on all the people that murdered the Israeli Olympic athletes. And those guns were almost completely silent, and it's because the bullets were given just enough powder to make the bullet deadly at certain distances. But so they tune those things to perfection, and it's not, like I said, it's not some rifle
okay.
that, some kid got from his grandfather. And then the other thing is that if you notice, the first rifle that they had that they said was the one used was a pellet gun. It wasn't even a firearm.
Yeah.
It was a pellet gun.
Jesus. All right,
And then they
Deb,
changed it again.
Deb from Sacramento has a question. Can cell phones be guns, like an FBI type secret weapon? Serious question.
Close range, yes.
So what that thing under the guy's arm, and again, I agree with you, Steve. I didn't see a shot come from there, so I don't think it's the truth. But
And it's the wrong angle.
is it possible?
No, not from that guy, but it's possible. I mean, it would be possible from a different angle, from a different person. But you'd have to, from a cell phone type gun, you got to be pretty damn close.
Yeah. Within 25 feet, and it would be a 22 short.
And you would have, I mean, it would be such luck that you would hit somebody in the, I just don't, it's too small a caliber for the wound that was created, or the entry wound that was created.
Susan says, my husband used to be a medic and he's still a firefighter. He said that what we saw after the shot was nerves and muscles, and that he would have passed within moments after the shot. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. I think we all agree with that. That's what you
well,
think.
all the video, all the close-up video that I've seen from a couple different angles, the entry wound is right here and the exit wound is right here.
Yeah.
And the exit wound is what tears the carotid artery, and that's what pumps him out right there.
Yeah. Okay. The guy in the back, the black part was part of his security. Yeah, but it looks to me like he was in on it.
Well, I mean, how many people have been murdered? I mean, the Secret Service was in on JFK's murder, for God's sakes.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. Pick Six Primetime says, could the rear camera that was removed fire around? And so then what I want to do is show you this other video of what they did immediately within minutes of the shooting, which is around the front and the back of the of this scene. You see this guy here, who's part of the security, supposedly. He immediately gets up on a chair.
He's not part of security, he's part of their tech crew.
Yeah, and then he removes the SD card.
I believe they made a copy of the SD card because they knew the FBI was going to grab him and bury him.
So he's kind of sticking around with the camera, it looks like. Now, I think this guy has since come out and said that he did it to make sure they kept the security. Why hasn't that footage come out then? I mean,
there were people walking into the crime scene and grabbing stuff. They were stealing hats. And he just said, "Oh, I don't care about the camera. I got to get the SD card." He got them all. And he later turned him into the FBI, but I promised
Okay.
him he made a copy of him before he did.
I wonder why we haven't seen them.
Very good question.
He also recorded Charlie Kirk. So he recorded Charlie Kirk being carried out to the SUV for medical treatment. The guy was already waiting on the wall for Kirk to be carried seconds after the shooting. Okay. All right. So it just, there's so many shady things about this that I can't really, I mean, wow, I can't go into them. It's crazy. So a couple of other things. After the shooting, piece of shit. Claimed he
it
was
was an interesting time when I went to. I was at Denver just on September 10th, 2001, and I'm a huge Broncos fan, so I was. It was the opening night of Denver Broncos Stadium. I went down there, and we were playing the Giants that night, and so it was a huge event for us. I remember everything that happened. We opened the stadium on September 10th, 2001, and so I was.
Okay, so let's fuck you, this guy. Fuck you. He told everybody he was the shooter, so the police were distracted and went after him and cuffed him as a decoy, as a distraction, so the real shooters, whoever they were, could get away. Should this piece of shit be executed for those crimes, Steve?
As a conspirator, he should receive the exact same penalty as the person who actually pulled the trigger.
Yeah.
There's no doubt he was a government plant. He was there during the Twin Towers event.
Mm-hmm.
He gave the news during that situation. And then as it happens, as soon as he's identified as being at the Twin Towers, he's arrested for, at least that was the last report, he was arrested for pedophilia. So that's a good way to get him off the street and out of the public eye so he can't talk on camera anymore.
Yeah.
And then, of course, being a pedophile, they're one of the first people killed in prison.
Yeah. Good for them. Yeah, Susan, I also think the guy on the roof was just a distraction for people. I think he was shot by someone closer to the ground. He could have even been firing a blank from the roof. That's entirely true. And I think that the mechanic and Steve Doran agree with you on that. Blake, what should happen to this guy that was obviously involved in the conspiracy? What should happen to him? Should he receive the death penalty for the murder of Charlie Kirk as well? I think everybody involved, just like the Lincoln assassination, should be hung. But that's just me. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I assume you were talking about the old guy because my internet cut out there. But yeah, the guy that went out of his way to be a decoy,
a distraction.
Yeah. No, that guy is all kinds of bad news, and he's been involved in a couple of other high-profile events, or at least claims to be. He's a notorious troublemaker. At least he was known to the locals out there. So no, yeah. So they need to interrogate them and find out. I don't know if they've ever gotten to the bottom of who he was communicating with on Discord, because that was the original narrative. It was just Antifa people and LGBT crazies that wanted him killed, and now it's taken on a whole new life of its own. And that guy got arrested. Then he's an idiot and had child porn all over his phone. So yeah, good riddance. They need to shut that guy down. He's bad news for decades, and it's time for him to go, but not until they get as many questions and answers as they can out of him first. And maybe I don't know if he's a paid actor or if he's a Fed, or it'd be nice to, but we can't trust anybody because the FBI's already trying to sell us the idea that it was another magic bullet, and that Charlie had an adamantine skeleton or whatever. It was like a man of steel, and he's blocking the 30-06. I mean, they can't get their story straight. They're continuing to scramble, and that's one of the leads, at least. So we'll see where that goes.
Yeah. Okay, Brooks, any thoughts on whether this guy should also face the death penalty?
Well, he's an accessory after the fact, and he made himself, even if he was trying to run interference.
Oh no! Wait a minute. I don't know if you would call him an accessory after the fact. If he was involved in the planning of this, then he's a co-conspirator. Isn't he?
Yeah. If you can get that out of him, but the idea that he
you can just look at his cell phone records, and if you talk to the killer or anybody else involved in the conspiracy, then yeah, you can go for it. But go ahead.
Even if you're a total nutball, and someone is murdered right in front of you, and by the way, when he said that he had shot Charlie Kirk, nobody really knew what happened to Charlie Kirk at that particular time. I mean, there was a lot of pandemonium, a lot of things going on. And the fact that he instantly volunteers that he's the shooter tells me that he was planted there to do that as a distraction.
Right.
Exactly.
As a distraction so that the real shooter could get on the plane and go back to...
Well, here's the other thing, Steve, I don't know, you'd have to talk to my friend, the mechanic, but he says it was a guy close in the front row there. You've even kind of expressed that it was somebody, at the ground level.
Well,
maybe it could be this guy. Maybe he really was
close. I don't believe he was that close.
Okay.
Well,
He had to be in a position. He had to be in a position where he was hidden enough that he could walk away. I mean, they do these things where a guy will take the shot. In fact, I believe in the Kennedy assassination, one of the witnesses claimed that once the individual took the shot, or one of the individuals that took a shot at Kennedy, immediately passed off his weapon to someone else who then carried it away and he went another direction. So he would have to be in a position where once the shot was taken, somebody else could grab that weapon, take possession of it that had nothing to do with the actual firing of the weapon, walk one direction, he walks another, completely unarmed, nobody pays any attention to him, off he goes. But, and if he's mixed in the crowd, and again, I say this knowing the type of people that attend Charlie Kirk's events, that if somebody saw a guy with a rifle and then he took a shot and he's standing there amongst the crowd, about 30 people would have jumped on him and held him to the ground. So he had to be hidden from everyone's sight long enough to take that shot.
Well, nobody can tell me that in all his planning, his escape plan was to jump 20 feet off a building to the grass below.
Right.
One mistake and his femur is sticking through his skin.
Exactly. His legs are...
Why didn't he exit the way he came? Why didn't he go down the stairs, out the parking garage, and just go the way he came? Why
they needed the video? They needed the video to show he was going to the grassy knoll or the wooded area.
Yeah. It's just a lot of things.
And again, all of it, that's what I'm saying. All of it was rehearsed. They rehearsed it again and again and again. So it would come off flawlessly.
Except that Tyler knew all the eyes were going to be pointed at him. And he realized, holy shit, I got to get out of here. And he jumps 20 feet to the ground. Really?
Yeah.
That's part of the escape.
And then casually goes and gets an ice cream cone.
Mm.
Okay. I've got two more things to cover. This is Megyn Kelly talking about what she's heard, and she has sources about the Charlie Kirk case. Let's listen to Megyn Kelly and then have some cross.
The FBI, familiar with the investigation, reporting that the Bureau is looking into posts by at least 7 different accounts. Several of the accounts appear to belong to transgender individuals, and at least one of them followed the suspect in this case, Tyler Robinson's roommate. Okay, so followed the roommate, the boyfriend, with whom Robinson was reportedly in a romantic relationship. Minutes after Charlie Kirk was pronounced dead, the user posted on X, "We fucking did it." This person has since deleted the account. Another user, 5 days before the shooting, wrote, quote, "You guys, I have something big coming soon. Just be sure to check the news. You'll know it when you see it," along with an emoji giving a wink. "I have something big coming soon. Just be sure to check the news. You'll know it when you see it." 5 days before the assassination. Then on Wednesday, after the shooting, this same account writes, quote, "Well, that's that." And another chud bites the dust. Chud, apparently a slang derogatory term for right-wingers. This user has also deleted the account. The Free Beacon also reporting a TikTok account by an individual who appears to be transgender, writing, quote, Charles James Kirk does not know what's coming tomorrow. This isn't a threat. It's a promise. So how did all these people know this? Did they just get lucky? They just stumbled upon, they just had a feeling something was going to happen to Charlie and they all wrote it and they have links to the trans community? Wow, that's quite a coincidence. And there's new information regarding Tyler Robinson, the suspect, as well. As I mentioned above, he was in a romantic relationship with his roommate, who's a biological man pretending that he can become a female and in the process of that, quote, transition. This news was confirmed to Axios by 6 sources. And not just that, but as we reported in our own AM update this morning, Tyler Robinson himself appears to have a link to so-called furry culture and a website to this culture, which is linked to the trans community and which involves people dressing up like animals and getting some sort of sexual fetish out of it. By the way, that same so-called boyfriend who was trying to trans himself into female was constantly all over the internet in furry costumes.
Okay, so that's what she knows about it. And then FBI Director Kash Patel came in with this statement yesterday. As a director of the FBI, I'm committed to ensuring the investigation into Charlie Kirk's assassination is thorough and exhaustive, pursuing every lead to its conclusion. The full weight of America's law enforcement agencies are actively following the evidence that has emerged, blah, blah, blah. We are meticulously investigating theories and questions, including the location from where the shot was taken, the possibility of accomplices, the text message confession and related conversations, Discord chats, the angle of the shot and bullet impact, how the weapon was transported, hand gestures observed as possible signals near Charlie at the time of his assassination, and visitors to the alleged shooter's residence in the hours and days leading up to September 10th, 2025. So we have 2 narratives there, but I do think it's potentially significant that Patel is saying he's the first person to acknowledge the hand gestures.
The guy froze again.
Am I frozen?
No.
Okay. He's the first person to acknowledge the hand gestures. Now, the question for the panel is, do you think this is going to amount to anything? Is there going to be a serious investigation, Brooks, or are they just shaping up the cover up on this? I mean, for him to bring up the hand gestures is an acknowledgement because none of the mainstream media has mentioned anything about these guys.
Correct.
Kind of forces them. In some ways, it kind of maybe forces them to address that, does it not?
I think Cash wants to do the right thing. I can see it. I can hear it in his voice. I've watched him over the years. He's a very intent-focused person. But the FBI is corrupt to its core.
Yeah.
And it needs to be dissolved, and it needs to be reorganized. And all those bad agents need to be sent somewhere, packing. No longer working for us, we the people. Cash is not really over his head. He's just outnumbered by the people who are running these ops in the background. And by the way, the LGBT, the T now stands for terrorism.
Yeah, terrorism. Blake, what do you think about Kash Patel's statement? I think it's pretty interesting that he would bring up the guys giving the signals because, like I said, no one in the mainstream media has touched what that was. And I think Steve agrees, and I know my friend Alan does, that the mechanic does, that they're definitely signals. Go ahead and take the shot. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, the timing of it is too close. So I'm familiar with signals. I guess I used to play baseball, looking at the third base coach. They're trying to give you instructions, and they do those same types of signals. And because of the timing, you can certainly make that case. And people are presenting that. And I got to give kudos to Kash Patel. I still think he's a decent patriot. And yeah, I'm sure there's probably rogue elements of the deep state. They also did that could have pulled this off behind his back. There's also, in the very beginning, they also mentioned perhaps a foreign element, a foreign government perhaps was
Yes.
in there as well. So I think he's kind of caught in between. Like, this is a total BS story. He's surrounded by all that. I don't know who we can trust, but he's got to get to the bottom of that somehow, going through all of it. And it looks like it was, easy to set it up. It looks like it was done by, the LGBT activists, but maybe they were the easy targets to, because nobody would believe them if they
Or the
said
useful
they were set up.
idiots. Yeah,
Yeah,
or the
exactly.
useful idiots. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think this looks like a professional op. Not that I'm the expert, but just looking at all the evidence, this official story doesn't add up. So we'll hope Cash can do some good work here, or somebody needs to blow this up. We've had way too many political assassinations over the years, just going to Seth Rich, Andrew Breitbart, or Michael Hastings. There's just a number of them. Some of them I've forgotten. But they can't continue to keep getting away with this, or maybe they will. I don't know.
Something has to be done. People have to be brought to justice, i.e., executed. Susan asked Steve, before I get your opinion, I'm pretty sure I know what you're going to say, but what are the thoughts on a 6.5 Creedmoor? You can take it apart with a screwdriver, or a 300 Blackout. I don't know which weapons those are. You're the expert. Those still would take more time than he had to disassemble.
Correct.
Jump down
any
and
weapon, even ones, they call them takedowns, right? They make weapons that are specifically made to be taken apart and taken down. Even if it doesn't matter what the caliber is, it's still, from the time the shot was taken till the time the shooter escaped, there wasn't enough time to screw with it. He had to pass it off somehow, or put it somewhere that it could be picked up later without anybody knowing where it was. So forget about taking it apart and sticking it in your pants or sticking it in your backpack. It didn't happen.
Of course, the difference is that the 98 Mauser is a very common weapon, not that expensive. The weapon that she's talking about, the 6.5 Creedmoor, it's a $10,000 gun.
Well, you can get them for a lot less. They're not. You can get any caliber. Savage makes them. Stevens makes them. It's not. The caliber, when I say it's irrelevant from the perspective that, you still have to take the gun apart, and there are tons of witnesses around and people watching you. If somebody just was killed, people are milling around, looking around. You have to be able to stash that weapon very quickly and get out of Dodge. And taking something apart, you make one mistake, don't do it right, the thing's, falling apart, breaking apart in your hands. It's just not feasible unless you're completely 100% hidden and, nobody can see you and you've rehearsed it 1,000 times. It's not a plausible way to go about
He's
it.
right. Even a 1911A1, if you don't do it right, it's going to fly to pieces.
Yep.
It'll take you a while to get it back together.
Yep. And then you're going to put it back together perfectly and leave it in the woods.
Right.
Yeah. All right. All I have to say at the end of this is rest in peace, Charlie. I'm very sorry this happened to you and your family and your friends. And we don't know what's happened yet. What we're only waiting to see if there's going to be a real investigation or not. That's what we're waiting on. Is there really going to be one, or are we going to have? What's that, Steve? Sorry.
I really don't believe there will be. And all of this LGBTQ stuff and furry stuff and all that, again, it's just another distraction to throw flies into the ointment. What has that got to do with anything? It really doesn't. We want an investigation that identifies the shooter and his team. We want to see that footage from the camera to the rear, and maybe and again, just because he's a tech guy doesn't mean he wasn't in on it and he wasn't destroying evidence. The fact is maybe the back camera would have showed the muzzle blast and exactly where the shot came from. So he had to remove that.
If the shot was from the crowd, as you speculated, and my friend, the mechanic, has speculated, it probably would show that. It would be like the Mary Mormon photograph of the grassy knoll.
Right, or just even if it was from, like I said, I don't believe it was in the crowd. He was concealed in some way, shape, or form. But it would have shown exactly his position. It would have showed the muzzle flash of the weapon and where it was fired, exactly where it was fired from. But I don't believe he was in the crowd because, like I said, there were enough people there that if a guy fired a weapon, they would be close enough. They would all jumped on him.
That's what I would have thought too.
There's no
That's
way
And
that
that's
they would have just
probably
let him know.
it's probably a 4K camera too.
Yeah.
You
Oh
can
yeah.
Count the threads in the first 10 rows.
Yeah. So, they did it, or he pulled it for a specific reason. I don't trust Charlie's, I don't trust the security detail. I don't trust any of them, and anybody can be bought and paid for.
Yep.
And, they can get people to cooperate on a number of different levels by telling them a number of different things. And, I just don't buy it. I don't buy that. Oh, they love Charlie. They're completely innocent. They would never do that.
Yeah.
No. I have
No.
seen it time and time again. Why do husbands kill wives? He loved his wife, but he killed her.
It's amazing what 30 pieces of silver will get you.
Yep.
And I would say the same forces that killed Jesus are the forces that killed Charlie.
And they're still with us, and we need to get rid of them and get them off our planet forever.
But if you want to focus on something, focus on the law enforcement agencies like the FBI doing the right thing and doing an actual criminal investigation and stop all this LGBTQ nonsense, because that has nothing to do with any of it. A man was murdered by another individual, and I'm going to say another individual and his team, and we need to get to the bottom of that. Quit throwing all these stupid distractions in.
Yeah. We are not going to drop this. I'm sure we'll be talking about this again next week. I will be back for the football show with Brian Engelman. We're going to be talking about probably no Vikings. TV's Blake Wally. Be talking some football tomorrow. That'll be lighten the mood a little bit. Thank you all for being here. Thank you to the panel. You guys are beyond fucking geniuses. And stay toxic, stay masculine, and stay ready, because I don't think this fight is over. So thanks, guys. See you next time. Bye.